Hey Explorers! I am happy to have this opportunity to make another video for you. The last time that we were together, we had just talked about the importance of diversity and civil rights for everyone with Martin Luther King Day, and we started to talk about equality, and then we went on and talked about respect and how it's important to respect others and to respect property, to respect everyone and everything because you deserve to respect yourself and others. So now I wanted to talk to you about diversity one more time, but today I'm going to be talking to you about how much we don't know about each other until you start to really get to know someone. Some of you might have your very best friends in the classroom, one or two people that you love to play with at recess or you enjoy sitting with at lunch. How well do you know them? Do you know what kind of traditions they practice with their family? Do you know how many brothers and sisters they have? Do you know what they most enjoy? Do you know what kinds of things scare them? And not only about your best friends, but do you know any of that information about any of your other classmates? Sometimes learning that kind of information can allow for everyone to feel safe with one another and really cared for. One really neat thing that I've learned in my years as a school counselor and just my years as a person meeting other people, I have never ever met someone and really got to know someone that I did not just love. I've got a great love for all people, but once you get to know someone, even if you're like, oh, I didn't like how they did that, I don't think I'd be friends with that person. You might surprise yourself. If you really put yourself out there and really get to know someone as a person and you get to know important things about them, you really might enjoy them. You just never know. So when we're talking about culture and values and what we can learn about other people, it's kind of like an iceberg. So here is a picture of an iceberg if you're unfamiliar. It's a large amount of ice that's in the ocean. But one thing that's really interesting about icebergs that is very similar to your culture and your values and things about that other people might not know about you is how much is underneath the surface. So icebergs, they're these huge mounds of ice, and all that you see is the very tip. If any of you have ever heard of the Titanic or watched the Titanic movie or read any of the stories about it, the Titanic hit an iceberg, and it wasn't this top part that hurt that ship, it was this huge massive amount below because there's so much under the surface that you don't really even realize. And the same thing is true for people. So I have sent an activity to your teachers, and the worksheet looks like this. It's a little iceberg. Isn't that cool? So on this activity sheet, you can write all the things up top above the water that people know about you just from looking at you and just from seeing you interact day in and day out. This is all surface level information that anyone might know about you. But then down below, you would want to write any other personal details that you want to share with your friends and classmates and other people. What's important for people to know about you that they wouldn't know unless they really wanted to get to know you? So I have completed this. I've completed that form. Well, I didn't. Two of my puppet friends completed that form. This is Molly, and this is Dion. And I want to show each of you Molly and Dion's iceberg so that you can kind of see how this goes. So let's say Molly is one of your classmates. Hey everyone! So here are some things that you might know about Molly just from being in class with her every single day. Up at the top of her iceberg, you would know that she's white and she's got brown hair. She could have also put that she's got brown eyes. She is a girl, and she's shy because she's not quick to talk, and she's a little bit she hangs back a little bit longer when meeting friends, and she's usually happy. She's always smiling in class. And something else that might have been a little bit more difficult for you to learn, but you'd know this if you heard her talk about her family, she's a middle child. So she's got an older sibling and a younger sibling. So those are all things you know about Molly if you were in her class. But down below the surface, here are the things that you wouldn't know about Molly unless you really took the time to get to know her. She has her great-great-grandparents came over from England. So England is where her ancestors are from, and that's a really important part of her heritage. Also, she's nervous sometimes when she has to sit alone in the cafeteria. Even if she doesn't look nervous when she's in the cafeteria, she definitely feels that way if there's no one sitting around her. She loves Minecraft. You might have known that about her if she had Minecraft on her notebooks or her book bag, but maybe not. And sometimes she plays with her hands when she doesn't know the answer. So maybe that's something else that she does to show that she's nervous. But these are all things that you might not know unless you talk to her. And then over here she put their favorite activity at home is reading mystery books. So those are interesting things. So from looking over that, think to yourself, whoops, let me get that out of the way. You might have something in common with Molly. You might be a middle child where you've got an older brother or sister, or younger brother or sister. Or you might be nervous when you go in the cafeteria and sit and there's nobody to sit with. Or you might just be happy every day, just like Molly always seems to be happy on the outside. So these are things that you might not have known until you talk to Molly, though. So you could be compatible to be Molly's best friend and not have even known it if you don't give her a chance to get to know who she really is. So now let's talk about Dion. So here's Dion, and let's see what we can learn from his iceberg and what he wants to share with you. So from the outside appearance, you can tell that Dion is black, and he's a boy. His hair is more curly. He's got tight curls in his hair. He's very friendly. He's tall and sometimes quiet, and he's the oldest child in his family. He's got a younger sister, and he's smart, so he's good at school. Some things that you don't know about him from just being in class with him: he loves to play video games at home. His favorite thing to do is dance. This is something that you wouldn't even know from going to PE with him because y'all don't usually have dance times. But maybe you'd pick up on something like this during some Go Noodle time. Something else that he probably keeps way under the surface: he really hates when his parents argue at home, and it makes him so unhappy. So these are all really important things about Dion that make him who he is, and it helps his friends really relate to him when they know those things. So some of you might be able to relate, even if your parents always get through their arguments. You might share that with Dion, that you don't like to hear them argue or debate different things at home. Or you might relate because you used to hear your parents argue and now they live in two separate places. But that's something special about Dion's personal life and your personal life that you wouldn't know unless you were willing to let people get to know you and you were willing to listen to other people. So if you choose, and if your teacher allows it, I hope you have a chance to share some information about your own iceberg, just like we've learned about Dion and Molly. Dion and Molly, thank you for being so open to teaching us about each of you. But we are all very similar to icebergs in the way that we have so much information to be learned about us that's underneath the surface. So just think about all this area that's underneath the surface. All of our values, all of our beliefs, what's important to you might not be what's important to other people, but it's still important for you to know and share with other people. That starts friendships, and that helps us learn about our personal differences, and it helps us to know new things to respect about one another. I hope that you have a great time with this activity if you choose to do it. And teachers, if you would prefer some help with this activity, I'd love to come in and assist your class. Just let me know, and I'm more than happy to come down. Explorers, have a wonderful afternoon, and I look forward to reaching out through a lesson again soon.